Good morning, afternoon, or good evening, depending on when you're watching this video. My name is Sean, and I am using this tool to kind of create a lecture series for myself. I actually teach MasterCAM design. I've been doing it for about 10 years now. I also do a lot of SolidWorks work, which will be integrated into this tutorial set most likely. The reason I'm doing these is for a reference point for my class. If you're in my class, thank you for watching. If you're not in my class, again, thank you for watching, and I hope you find this useful. I'm going to start with a very basic overview of the MasterCAM design area and some of the toolbars. There were some major changes done since MasterCAM X9. Right now we're using MasterCAM Design 2017, and you'll notice that if you've been in industry for a while, we've been on our way slowly to basically using ribbon bars versus a lot of the drop downs that we're used to seeing. So this layout has been changed pretty significantly. I have a good handle on where things are right now, but hopefully I won't get lost at all while I'm trying to do some of this. Some of these have been moved around a lot. So I'd like to start by introducing very new individuals to the screen itself here. This is exactly how MasterCAM 2017 opens. This is a default view. On the left-hand side is going to be a dialog box where most of your inputs happen over here. Depending on when you enter into any kind of drafting or operation set, you're going to see this box will change, and it'll be usually asking you for inputs or things like that. The default one, planes, is a big one. If you're not used to the way 3D drafting works, we're going to be operating in different sets of planes. We're going to be starting with 2D, which is going to basically always be in the top plane, okay, for what we're doing. You'll see that there are 4 different tabs over here. You got G, WCS, C, and T. And these stand for different planes within this box. So we got a graphics view, a work coordinate system, which is a biggie, a construction plane system, and a tool plane system. For all intents and purposes right now, we always want the same plane to be selected for all 4 options. Later on, we may get into the reasons why, but for now, we're not going to worry about that. Just understand that the top plane is basically, picture yourself looking down onto a flat tabletop. That's what you're doing right here. You're looking down on a flat tabletop. MasterCAM is a tool that you can use to actually draw in. I don't recommend it a lot of the time because AutoCAD and SolidWorks, there are other drafting tools that are better suited. MasterCAM is really made to be a machining simulator for the most part. The drafting tools work, but they're kind of limited. That being said, you will use some basic drafting inside of MasterCAM to generate all kinds of different reference geometry, bounding boxes, and things of that nature. So it's still good to know how to manipulate geometry within MasterCAM. I always like to start really talking about some of the more complicated aspects of MasterCAM and moving into levels. Think of levels as different colored markers in your toolbox, and every time you change what your geometry is, or it's a part of your part that you want to keep separate from the rest of the things you're manipulating, you want to have a different level set up. Main reason being is that you can use your levels to turn geometry on and off, and that becomes really important when your drawings start getting complicated. On a standard blueprint or a standard operation sheet, you may have 3 or 4 operations with maybe 10 or 12 different tooling operations on them. It's really important to be able to turn those on and off so that you don't get confused very easily. You'll see that we have a default level of 1, and that's always going to be the way you start off. The name is blank. For now, what I'd like to do is come in here and enter a name. We're going to call this geometry. Just for now. If I wanted to make another level later on down the road, it's very simple. I'm going to come down and change the number to 2 and hit tab on the keyboard, and you'll see that pop the new one down. So let's say this next one is maybe, let's do circle geometry, because we're going to draw some circles later on. So again, I'm going to hit tab, and you'll notice that right now there are 0 entities on either one of these. So basically, they're not being used yet. The blue checkbox is the one that is currently selected and the one that will be used to draw things on if it does stay like that. So I'm going to change it back to 1 by double left clicking, and you'll see that the blue checkbox moves. It's exactly what we want. Let's use that for now. We'll start talking about some drawing tools. The main 2D drawing tools are under the wireframe drop down, not drop down, but the ribbon bar here again. The 3D stuff is under surfaces and solids, but we'll deal with that later. For now, what I'd like to do is just show you how to use these basic commands up here. So points, we'll start from left and work our way right to the right. A point is exactly what you think it is. Okay, it's just a point in space. You can use either for a reference point or to use as a drill point for a drilling cycle, or a center drilling cycle, or a tapping cycle. That's really the only thing they're used for. I don't use it very much in industry or in my classes, but it's still good to have just in case. Again, I'm going to come over and hit my F9 key, and that's just going to give me a crosshair. And if you know what a Cartesian coordinate system is, this is basically our 0, 0, 0 point, okay? And again, that's why if you see top, this is called a gnomon, and it's basically showing us that Y is going up in the vertical axis and X is going across in the horizontal axis. And if you know what a Cartesian coordinate system is, you'll notice that the upper right-hand corner is the plus plus box, and we're going to be basically drawing mostly in this direction here. I will probably make another video to describe the coordinate system later on, but this video will be a little bit more advanced than that. So again, point position. I'm going to left click on point position. It's asking me whether it's a point, a thread point, or a cut point. I'm just going to leave it a point, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and come over and just left click in space, okay? You see how those are being dropped down. Again, this is very unscientific. We're not telling it where to put a point, we're just dropping it in space. If we had a reference point already existing, for example, though, that's one easy thing to do. If I wanted a point on an end line or a midpoint of a line, I could go ahead and use snap points to just drop these down. Usually that's how I draw. I will draw some reference geometry, like the outer shape of the part or something like that, and I will use that geometry to draw the rest. I'm going to go ahead and delete these for now. 2 different ways to delete, by the way. I personally will normally left click on one piece of geometry, hit the delete key, left click on the geometry, hit the delete key, or you can also do a left click and drag, left click and drag, and then when you let go of the box or you double click on the box on the bottom, you'll see that you can actually highlight more than one entity. You see that? And if you do that and hit the delete key on there, you can also delete more than one thing if you want to. And you can also click on the one entity, and I thought there was a delete in here. Maybe there isn't. No, there was no delete in there. Oh, yeah, there it is. Sorry about that. So you can also do it that way. I will usually do pick boxes or do single clicks and delete on the keyboard. I find that faster. So what if we want to place a point at a specific area in space? This is a good thing to know for basically all these commands. Once I enter it, it again asks me to create the point position. I am going to come over, and first thing I'll show you is the auto cursor fast point. This area right here, when you left click on that, allows you to type in a coordinate for the position of the point. Typing in a coordinate consists of the X Y, and Z coordinates, if you refer back to what the gnomon looked like before. What we care about right now is the Y and the X, and you'll see over here is a little reminder for you if you forget. So I'm going to come over here, and this is the format too. So if we do 1, comma, 1, comma, 0, I expect the point to be 1 inch from here, from 0, 0 up, and 1 inch to the right over here. And 0 just is your depth. So we're not using Z right now, so the Z is always going to be 0. So 1 comma 0. When I hit enter, here's my points. Okay, that's pretty easy. Now if I want to do the same thing again, let's say I want to do 2 comma 2 comma 0. Okay, so 2 in the X, 2 in the Y, 0 Z. Hit enter, and you'll see that we're slowly building kind of a set of data points up in the vertical. Okay, that's how you enter in points in the coordinate system. It does take a little getting used to. You got to have a good handle on the X and the Y and the Z and where the Cartesian coordinate is too, because you can also do this in the other direction. If we go -1 comma -1 comma and then 0. Oops. There it goes. You'll see we're going in a different direction now. So instead of going positive, we're going negative. Do the same thing. -2, -2, 0. There we go again. And let's do it one more time. Why not? -3, -3, 0. I think I must have messed up my enter keystroke there. There we go. And you can also get really tricky and start going a little crazy. You can go 1 and then -3 and 1 over there. And we can start going this here. But that's basically, in a nutshell, how you're going to enter your coordinates. I'm going to delete those real quick. The main thing to remember out of this tutorial, aside from putting the points down, is that this auto cursor field is always going to show up on this ribbon bar when you're in any of these commands. So if you are looking at your blueprint and you know where the points are supposed to be based on your print, you are able to go ahead and just type in the coordinates as you go. Okay, that's where you want to do that. Bolt circle is a nice little tool if you are going to be putting down multiple points on screen. It asks you for a center point. So I'm going to start by clicking on the 0, 0 point, and I'll zoom out with my mouse wheel a little bit. And basically you fill in the size or the radius of the circle. So in this case, let's say I want a radius of 0.5, so a diameter of 1 of the bolt circle. You see that this is the bolt circle center line right there. So actually, let's keep that 5 so it's easier to see. My apologies there for that. So this is a 5-inch bolt circle. We have a number of 8. So if we change that to 4, you'll see, or 3, or 6, you'll see the number of circles changing. And then the arcs here is actually where the size of the radius is set up. So right now we're at a 1/2 inch diameter, I believe. If we change this to 1, you'll see the circles get bigger. If I hit apply, it just drops all the circles down, and that's basically how that bolt circle command works. That's a little bit more advanced. We may come back and use that later as we start doing some machining profiles. But for the next video, what we're going to do is we're going to get into rectangles, circles, and lines, which are more the bread and butter of what you'll be using in your travels as a MasterCAM user.